Welcome in, everyone. I hope you guys are doing great wherever you're watching from today. We have a very fascinating topic to talk about, and that is Netflix's new documentary about Osama Bin Laden and grossly misrepresented and twisted facts about what happened during the Battle of Tora Bora. Before we get into all of that and essentially Delta Force being completely cut out and the truth not being told, which I cannot wait to dive into with everyone. Before we get into all of that and much more, please make sure to like and subscribe. Comment with your thoughts below. It really helps boost us. And I want to hear what you guys think about what Netflix did to the Delta Force heroes that were in Tora Bora. Make sure to subscribe. Always hit that bell so you know when a new video is coming. And now let's get into it. On May 14th, Netflix released its new 3-part documentary, American Manhunt, Osama Bin Laden, and it tells the story of the United States hunting down Osama Bin Laden. I had the opportunity to watch the first episode. It actually wasn't that bad. It was pretty interesting. But then towards the end, it gets into the Battle of Tora Bora. For those of you who might not know, Tora Bora was the closest the United States came to finding Osama Bin Laden and killing him in Afghanistan before he was able to escape. And then obviously we got him in 2011 in Pakistan. It is one of the most famous engagements of the entire war in Afghanistan. And it was mostly conducted by Delta Force operators along with some special boat service members from the United Kingdom, which of course is their tier 1 element of version of SEAL Team 6. However, what Netflix published and put out to the public is just simply not true. So before we get into the part of the Netflix film, I'm going to read, I'll throw this up on the screen for you here. I'm going to read a little bit about the Battle of Tora Bora. This is truthful, this is accurate, this is very different from what Netflix put out, and then we're going to get into what Netflix said happened, as well as what his guys who were actually there said happened. So this is in the mountainous region, the cave region. Says, on December 8th, a team of elite Delta Force soldiers led by Major Tom Greer, aka Dalton Fury, he wrote a book under that name, arrived. They had put on traditional clothing and grown bushy beards to blend in with Afghan militias and were carrying the same types of weapons as their local counterparts. The Americans were able to pick up a radio from a dead Al-Qaeda fighter. This allowed the U.S. forces to eavesdrop on Al-Qaeda fighter communications, including Osama bin Laden himself. Greer has said there was no doubt that it was bin Laden's voice on the other end of the radio, citing a CIA operative named Jalal, who had spent 7 years studying bin Laden's voice, confirming it. 2 British SBS commandos from M Squadron were embedded with A Squadron Delta, one of whom continued to work for JSOC, albeit in a different capacity. During the hours of darkness, the Al-Qaeda fighters would light fires which would reveal their specific location and aid laser-designated targeting for air-launched weapons. The Afghan fighters continued a steady advance through the difficult terrain, backed by airstrikes and U.S. and British special forces. The U.S. bombed the bunker that bin Laden was believed to be hiding in on December 9th. However, he had already evacuated the bunker on the previous day. Journalist Peter Bergen says that bin Laden had a premonition of danger when he dreamed of a scorpion crawling into one of the trenches the men had dug for him. On December 10th, Delta Force intercepted radio communications indicating bin Laden was on the move, attempting to break through the siege line. Later that day, Afghan soldiers claimed they'd spotted bin Laden and surrounded him. In the evening, more communication revealed bin Laden's location just 10 kilometers away. However, Delta Force couldn't act on this opportunity due to being engaged in a fierce firefight with other Al-Qaeda fighters and their Afghan allies, leaving to break their fast and observe Ramadan. So that is just a snippet of the Battle of Tora Bora. A Squadron operators, some of whom have gone public, which we're going to get into here in a second, were carrying the heavy workload of the killing, the fighting. It was a Delta Force show. It was Delta Force's job to get Osama bin Laden. This is well documented. This is not a secret. Guys have talked about it. And it was 100% they were running the show. They did have at least one Air Force CCT from the 24th STS who was coordinating the bomb strikes. However, if you watch the Netflix series, you would never know that's what happened. Because in the Netflix series, they completely cut out the existence of Delta Force. They completely cut out the fact that Delta Force was running the show. And what do they say instead? That just 4 men took on a team of 1,000 Al-Qaeda and Taliban fighters aided by one of the 4 men being an Air Force CCT, which there was an Air Force CCT there. I can tell you that for a fact. But let's go ahead now and roll the version, a short audio snippet from what they said in the Netflix documentary. It's absolutely crazy, and it's completely not a full, accurate picture of what happened. Let's roll that right now.
We had 4 Americans, 1,000 enemy down below. If we didn't eliminate these people now, every one of them that escaped the country was a potential pilot to fly another airline into a building.
What you just saw, that short audio snippet, is from a CIA operative that is featured in the documentary that was at Tora Bora, again claiming 4 guys were going to fight 1,000 enemy fighters. The number of fighters is estimated to be in that ballpark, somewhere between 800 to 1,200,000, nice middle ground. No one knows for sure how many people were there. But what we do know for sure is that the Battle of Tora Bora was not a CIA show featuring just 3 or 4 guys plus an Air Force CCT. How do we know about this? Because it's been on the record. We have clips, we have interviews, including interviews I've done in the past with people who were there telling the true story of what happened at Tora Bora. And I want to show you that right now. I want you guys to see it. So the first clip is former A Squadron member John McPhee, who was at the Battle of Tora Bora, in an interview I did. And then the second clip is with Thomas Greer, who's the ground force commander just mentioned in that piece, who is unfortunately no longer with us. He did pass away several years ago. Great American hero. And it's with an interview he did on 60 Minutes showing actual footage of the Delta Force guys who were there, which Netflix completely ignored, didn't include whatsoever, and completely shifted the narrative to make it look like 4 dudes fought a force of 1,000 Taliban fighters and were responsible for everything. Let's go ahead and roll those clips right now.
When we finally get in the mountains, right, there's kind of a couple different ways. So we take the bulk of the guys and we send them around the mountains to kind of flank these guys to keep them from getting into Pakistan. And then me and a couple of guys went just straight after them, straight up the money, straight down the middle, keep the pressure on them. We shot at them, we bombed them, you name it, whatever we could do. We killed a lot of, I don't know how many. I'm going to tell you this. We killed so many people those first few days at Tora Bora. There's no way I could even ever count. Right? So if you hear a guy count of how many people he's killed, this is complete fucking bullshit. Because when you're in a situation where, and I've been in this a few times with the unit, we'll take all comers. Bring it. Bring your best. We're going to kill everyone here today and we're all going to walk away. And it's going to be a long day and it's going to be a lot of work. But every one of you guys is going to die. And then you want to do this tomorrow, we'll do this again tomorrow. And then
It's a standard dress for a Mujahideen warrior.
This is video of the top secret mission never seen by the public before. It was recorded by the Delta Commandos themselves. Dressed like Afghans, the Americans maneuvered up the mountains, calling in airstrikes on Al-Qaeda.
It's important to note that this documentary was delayed months. It was first supposed to come out in March. There was a ton of promotion and hype behind it. Then, for seemingly no explanation that the company never gave me after I reached out, it was delayed, pushed, then was released on May 14th. We have no concrete answers for why that happened. There's theories floating around. I reached back out to Netflix when I saw it and asked, hey, why does this documentary just completely ignore the facts of the matter and completely ignore giving any credit to the Delta Force guys or the SBS guys that did almost all the fighting in Tora Bora, called in the airstrikes, et cetera, et cetera. I have not received a response as of this video being made on May 15th. If there is a response, I will certainly update you all. But this is, quite frankly, unacceptable. It's irresponsible. It's borderline disgusting. This is documented information. I will also tell you that the government's been cracking down significantly on Tier 1 operators sharing their stories, which is a video and a topic for another time. Is it possible that the government didn't want anyone from the unit, from Delta Force, talking about Tora Bora? I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure they wouldn't be happy if they did, but I can't say anything on that past speculation. I want to be clear, that's me speculating. But what I do know is that this is nothing short of dishonesty at the highest degree. To make a documentary about the hunt for Osama Bin Laden, include the Battle of Tora Bora, and then completely disregard what actually happened is insanity. It's complete insanity. So if Netflix won't tell you the truth, I will tell you the truth. This was a Delta Force-led operation from members of A Squadron. The photos are out there, the videos are out there, and the idea that 4 people took on 1,000 guys and that Delta wasn't there or that Delta didn't do almost all the work is complete insanity. There's no other way to sum it up. I'm not going to hold back here. I'm not going to mince words. It is ludicrous that this was put out there, and these essentially, again, lies or lies by omission is now what people are going to watch and believe what happened. Not true, not accurate. That is not what happened. What happened was Delta Force went down there and rained hell on them. And for whatever reasons Netflix won't tell me, that was completely changed and a different narrative was put in the documentary. It's not a bad documentary in totality, but it's also completely false with parts of it. And it disregards the truth of what happened. So I'm fired up about it. I'm sure many of you are fired up about it. Let me know in the comments what you think about them being completely cut out, their heroic acts being completely ignored. It is quite frankly unreal. I can't believe it. I want to hear your thoughts. Please let me know in the comments. Let's bring as much attention to this as we possibly can so the real heroes get the recognition they deserve. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell so you know when there's a new video coming. And as always, I'll see you all next time.